Hey, friends. Well, I had a morning, interesting morning. My daughter woke up at 4, kind of sick, wanted me to sleep with her. So I lay down, and she was pretty much out for the next 4 hours, and I was pretty much awake. And so I've had a bit of one of those kind of like, you know, it's almost like a meditation. It's almost like a kind of state of meditation or yoga. And it's funny because oftentimes when it's usually around the time that she woke up this morning is about the time I get up anyway. and do my yoga and whatnot. And so, and sometimes when this happens, I feel interrupted. I feel like, oh, I didn't get to do my morning routine. I didn't get to meditate. I didn't get to whatever. And so but I've learned that if I can just roll with this, if I can just roll with whatever my child is asking for, whatever kind of attention, whatever amount of attention, just give over to it. Amazing things happen. And it's at least as valuable as doing my yoga routine. There's at least as much benefit, not just for me, but also for me, as me doing the thing that is kind of my, go-to practice. And so as I was kind of in that state, a couple of really, really powerful insights came to me. One of which that I started to see my entire life as a series of investments. And I don't mean that in a transactional way. I don't mean to say that everything I've done I treat like a stock portfolio. But I do feel, my experience is that what I have invested in over the course of my life produces the value that I receive in my life, and it's a really remarkable relationship. And so then, if there are areas of my life where I feel like I've underinvested, I'm under diversified, to stick with this language, I feel that, and I feel like, oh, maybe I should get on that. Or I feel like maybe there's a reason that hasn't been so important for me, But what comes out of that, what arises out of that is, the first this thought came up in the context of me sort of feeling like, oh, I wish I had invested more in such and such area of my life, right? I just kind of looking at it and feeling a deficit. But almost instantaneously, I was like, wait. First of all, anytime I have a picture of my life that looks like a deficit, I have to immediately go, okay, what's the emotional pattern around this? What's produced? Because this is not how I feel about my life. What's going on? What is it in me that I'm feeling that is attaching to this particular issue or thought complex or circumstance that's trying to convince me that there's something wrong here. So, and that's like, at this point, that's a well-honed mechanism. I know almost immediately when I'm in that place. And the next thing that happened was I went, but hold on. Let me focus on what I have invested in. Let me focus on the areas of my life that if this was a stock portfolio, I'd be saying, wow, what a crazy level of unexpected performance I'm experiencing here. And, and I think that's nice that I feel that way. That wouldn't have to be the case. I could feel differently about how I've invested my time and energy. So it's nice to note that that when I go there, I really do feel a sense of satisfaction. But it's also kind of like, again, now I'm going with this language. If you think about like asset classes in a stock portfolio, our lives have asset classes too. They're areas of life where we've made a certain kind of investment. We've spent a certain kind of time. We've dug in. We've done some work. And a lot of times, assuming we have a kind of balance, a reasonable amount of balance, we can shift one asset class and make it bolster another one. We can leverage what we know in one area of our life, or the expertise or the success that we've experienced in one area of our life, and balance. If there's some balance that is needed, then we can generally create that balance. But we can also use value in one area to produce value in another area, and that was a really empowering recognition when it kind of came to me that way. I was like, oh, maybe anybody, I think probably anybody can look at their life and say, oh, well, here are my challenges right now. Here are my successes right now, and here are my challenges right now. Where would I put, what should I do? How should I spend the time and energy that I have right now, that I'm about to go spend today? And so, especially as I look at this, I've been going down this rabbit hole of state, story, and strategy over the last week or so. Not quite a week, 5 days, 4 days. And it's like trying to ride a new kind of horse or drive a new kind of vehicle, because I can sense that I know I have this experience about producing unbelievable success, unbelievable value and worthiness and abundance. But if I approach it from a focus on where there is lack, then I'm in trouble. Then it's awfully hard to build value. But if I approach it from where is my portfolio, feels silly now, the language, but where is my portfolio already strong? And what does that imply? What options does that give me? That, the state that I found the other day through the writing exercise that I did and some contemplation, and there was a kind of blast of, oh, I get this. I have all the power I could ever possibly imagine right at my disposal. I just need to wield it. I just need to pick it up and put it to use. So I don't know how long I'm going to go with this, my life as a stock portfolio image. But it's helpful to kind of, it does allow me to, I think there's some perspective that it offers, because it kind of takes my emotional attachment to some areas or aversion to some areas out of the mix and just kind of puts it on a spreadsheet. And it's like, all right, well, here's what we got. Let's not dwell on what's wrong. Let's look at where the value is and see how we can build that. So it's been a helpful, again, this is what comes out of my mind when I spend 4 hours in my 4-year-old's bedroom hoping she goes back to sleep. trying to make sure she stays asleep. So anyway, that's where I am today, folks. If this warrants a follow-up, I will keep you posted. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon.